Space was never silent anymore. Not after the Serpent Gods woke up. They slithered between the stars, monstrous, galaxy-sized coils that moved like rivers of venom across the void. Each one was a titan older than civilizations. Their scales black as midnight, their eyes glowing like suns drowned in poison. And one of them had found its way to Hulk's world. Bruce Banner had built a fragile piece here, a hidden planet at the edge of the Milky Way, covered in emerald forests and crystal skies. It wasn't Earth, but it was home, a place where Hulk's family could live in quiet. The woman he loved, the children who ran through the rivers with laughter in their throats. But peace in a galaxy never lasted. The first scream shattered the silence. The sky tore open with the hiss of fire, and down descended coils bigger than mountain ranges. A serpent whose body wrapped around the horizon itself. The alien Serpent Lord. Its tongue lashed across villages, tearing houses apart as though they were toys. Its scales gleamed with toxins that melted steel. And worst of all, the monster wasn't hunting food. It was harvesting life. The serpent's coils encircled Hulk's village. From its fanged maw came a voice that wasn't sound, but venom crawling through the mind. Your offspring will feed the nest of eternity. And in the chaos, Hulk's family was ripped away. His children, clutched in coils of endless muscle, vanished into the void. Hulk roared. It wasn't just a roar. It was the breaking of mountains, the cry of a father stripped of everything. His rage shook the ground, split the forests, sent shockwaves into the air. He leapt, green thunder flying into the stars, smashing into the serpent's coils with fists that could shatter tanks. But rage wasn't enough. The Serpent Lord shrugged off his blows as though they were rain. It laughed inside his skull. Its hiss became a whisper of mockery. Your strength is bound by flesh. My coils are eternity itself. And then the beast struck, one strike of its tail, and Hulk was hurled across the sky, through mountains, into dust and blood. For the first time in years, Hulk lay broken, alone, and his family was gone. Far above, orbiting in the silence, a lone figure had been watching. The red and blue streak of hope. The last son of Krypton. Superman. He landed beside Hulk's crater, his cape fluttering like a flame in the wreckage. His hand reached out. Not pity, not sympathy, but solidarity. Get up, Bruce, Clark said, voice steady, eyes burning with quiet fury. They've taken your family, which means they've declared war on all of us. Hulk's lip curled back, rage and grief colliding. I'll smash them. I'll tear every snake apart. Superman's gaze shifted to the stars, where the serpent's shadow still coiled against the night sky. You won't have to do it alone. The ground trembled as Hulk rose. His fists clenched. Superman's eyes glowed like twin suns. And together, two of Earth's greatest stood beneath the looming shadow of the Serpent Gods. The war for the galaxy had begun. The stars were alive with whispers. Wherever the Serpent Gods coiled, the void itself bent. Superman had seen many things across galaxies. Empires rise, suns burn out, tyrants kneel. But even he had never felt a silence so heavy as when the Serpent Lord vanished in a hyperspace with Hulk's children. It wasn't just an abduction. It was a declaration. A message carved into the cosmos. Humanity's champions could bleed. The Watchtower's hidden archives told the story. Kryptonian glyphs translated by Clark's memory, ancient records stolen from fallen civilizations. The Serpent Gods weren't mere monsters. They were architects of extinction. Eons ago, they had slithered across the young galaxies, devouring life, not for hunger, but for worship. They fed not only on flesh, but on fear. Whole species were stolen, reshaped, sacrificed into the nest of eternity, a living labyrinth of flesh and venom where the serpents bred new horrors. Hulk's family wasn't just captured. They were to be made into fuel. Where? Hulk's voice rumbled, breaking the silence of the chamber. His fists smashed into the table, shattering steel like glass. His eyes were bloodshot, his chest heaving. Superman turned, cape falling behind him like a river of crimson. Sector Ecliptus, beyond the Veil Nebula. That's where the nest breathes. Hulk growled. Then that's where I smash. Clark nodded, calm but fierce. Not alone. If we go charging blind, we'll be torn apart before we even touch ground. Then plan fast, Hulk snapped. Because every second my kids scream, that snake laughs. Superman didn't argue. He knew Hulk's pain. He remembered Krypton burning. He remembered being powerless once. The kind of grief that turned silence into thunder. This wasn't just a rescue. It was justice. Hours later, a ship cut through the starlight, an experimental Kryptonian-Earth hybrid craft. Engines hummed with alien precision. Hulk sat strapped into reinforced seats, already bent under his weight, while Superman stood at the helm, hands on controls. Hulk's knuckles cracked. "Clark, you sure about this?" Superman smirked faintly. "When am I ever not?" Plenty of times, Hulk shot back. "Difference is I usually smash my way out of it. You brood until someone writes a poem." For a moment, just a fleeting second, the air was lighter. The two warriors shared a rare grin. Not brothers by blood, but by battle. The laughter died as the nebula came into view. Before them hung a sight ripped from nightmares, the nest of eternity. It wasn't a planet. It wasn't a station. It was alive. A world-sized coil of serpentine flesh twisted around a shattered moon, its scales glistening with venom rivers. Obsidian towers rose from its body like spines, glowing with a sickly green light. Thousands of smaller serpent creatures slithered across its surface, winged, scaled, armored, an army bred from the void. Hulk clenched his jaw. That thing's not a nest. It's hell. Superman's eyes narrowed. Then we burn hell down. The ship breached atmosphere. Immediately, shrieks filled the air, a swarm of serpent spawn, their wings blotting out the stars. Their screeches pierced through metal, through bone, a chorus of nightmares. Superman shot forward first, faster than bullets, tearing through the swarm with eyes of fire. Heat vision carved the skies into burning trails, slicing wings, igniting monsters into ash. His fists were meteors, striking with surgical precision, each blow shattering a beast back into the soil below. And then Hulk leapt. The ship door tore open and he launched himself like a green missile, crashing into the horde with a roar that thundered across the heavens. Every punch broke air itself, every strike smashing serpents like paper. His fury was an earthquake unleashed into the sky. For a moment, it was almost beautiful. The Man of Steel and the Green Goliath fighting side by side, cutting through armies like gods of vengeance. But the nest was waiting. The ground beneath them split open. From the abyss rose three colossal forms. Serpent generals, their scales gleaming with starlight, their fangs dripping molten venom. Each was the size of city. Their voices slithered into minds like knives. "Children of Earth, you do not belong here. Your world is ashen waiting. Your strength will feed the broodmother." Their bodies coiled around mountains, their heads blotting out the clouds. Hulk spat into the dirt. "I've heard gods talk bigger than you." Didn't end well for them either. Superman's eyes burned. "We're not here to worship. We're here to end this." And with no more words, the ground exploded as battle was joined. The first general struck at Superman, jaws snapping shut like collapsing suns. Clark caught the mid-bite, straining as venom hissed inches from his face. His muscles trembled, veins glowing as heat vision blasted into the beast's throat, carving a molten wound. The serpent screamed, but its coils slammed him into the ground, shattering craters. The second lunged at Hulk. Its body wrapped him in coils tighter than steel, fangs sinking into his shoulder. Hulk's bellow shook the stars. His veins went black for a moment as venom surged into him. Poison meant to rot planets. But pain was fuel. Hulk's muscles swelled, tearing coils apart with brute force. His roar shattered the serpent's jaw before he smashed its skull into the dirt with both fists, cracking mountains in half. Blood, green and black, stained the battlefield. The third serpent rose higher than both, wings blotting out the horizon. It spat rivers of acid fire across the land, oceans of venom meant to drown them. Superman's body blurred through the storm, dragging Hulk with him as they burst through the tide like twin meteors. The sky lit with fire. And then, above it all, the nest stirred. From its heart, a voice deeper than eternity echoed, shaking the galaxy. So the last son of Krypton and the monster of Midgard dare to challenge the broodmother. The sky split. The largest shadow yet slithered forward, eclipsing moons. A serpent so vast it made the others look like worms. Its eyes glowed with galaxies drowning inside them. Fangs like towers. A body coiled around the nest itself. The broodmother, and in her coils, tiny voices screamed. Hulk's children, trapped in cages of bone, being lowered toward a pit that pulsed with living fire. Hulk froze. His rage sharpened into something lethal. Superman's jaw clenched like steel. This wasn't just a fight anymore. It was a reckoning. The ground shook as the broodmother rose, her coils wrapping mountains like threads of silk. Her hiss rippled across the stars, a sound that bent reality, a song of extinction. Superman hovered above the battlefield, cape torn, fists bloody, eyes burning like suns. Hulk stood below, chest heaving, green skin streaked with black venom, rage still radiating like a storm. Between them and the monster coiled the nest itself, a labyrinth of bone, sinew, and pulsating veins, alive and breathing. Inside, Hulk's children cried, their voices echoing through the hive. Superman turned to Hulk. "We can't fight her out here. Not yet. We cut into the nest, find the children, then face her together." Hulk growled, smashing his fists together. "You're saying run?" "I'm saying fight smart," Clark snapped. His voice didn't waver, but his eyes softened for a second. "She wants you angry. Wants you reckless. Don't give her that." Hulk's jaw clenched. Rage burned, but beneath it was something rarer. Trust. He gave a short nod, and together they leapt into the nest. The inside was worse than hell. Walls of living flesh pulsed with venom veins, glowing faintly green, pumping poison like blood. The floor was slick, shifting, as though the nest itself resisted their presence. Bone spires jutted upward like prison bars. Whispers filled the air, slithering voices pressing against their minds. "Hulk, abandon them. Save yourself. Krypton's son, you failed your world. You'll fail again." Clark shook it off, fists clenched. "Don't listen. They can't control us." Hulk snarled, smashing his fist into the wall. "I don't listen, I smash." His punch ripped through layers of flesh, spraying venom. The nest howled like it was alive. Deeper they ran, carving through hordes of serpent spawn. Superman moved like a blur, heat vision burning tunnels, fists breaking armored beasts into dust. Hulk was a living avalanche, ripping serpents apart with bare hands, crushing them into the living ground until it bled. But the nest was endless. Corridors twisted like a serpent's body, leading them deeper into madness. They passed chambers where alien captives were cocooned in venom, screaming as the nest reshaped their flesh into new spawn. They passed rivers of molten acid where serpent priests chanted to the broodmother. Everywhere they looked, they saw not just war but worship. This wasn't just an army. It was a religion. Then they reached it, the chamber of sacrifice, a cathedral of bone and fire. In the center, suspended in cages of crystallized venom, were Hulk's children. They were crying, calling out for their father. "Daddy!" Hulk froze. His eyes widened, and for the first time, rage turned into something else, fear. Before he could leap, serpents the size of skyscrapers coiled around the chamber. Their scales glowed with glyphs, their eyes burning with alien fire. These weren't soldiers. These were high serpents, priests of the broodmother. One hissed its tongue ablade. "Welcome, the last son of Krypton. Welcome, the monster of Midgard." Another's voice slithered like poison. "You think you fight for family. You think you fight for survival. You fight for nothing." Superman stepped forward, his voice steel. "Let them go." The chamber trembled with their laughter. The high serpent raised its head, and the walls of the chamber shifted, revealing carvings, ancient, etched in blood and venom. Images of two figures, carved into the nest itself. A man in red and blue, a giant in green. The carvings were older than Krypton, older than Earth, older than light itself. Hulk's breath caught. What the hell? Superman's fist tightened, heat vision flaring. The serpents hissed in unison. You were foretold. You are not saviors. You are fuel. The revelation hit like thunder. The Serpent Gods hadn't just taken Hulk's children to hurt him. They hadn't just baited Superman. They had been waiting, for centuries, for them. The nest itself was a prophecy designed to lure the strongest beings in the cosmos. Because the broodmother didn't just eat flesh. She devoured power. Superman's Kryptonian energy. Hulk's gamma rage. Together, the perfect sacrifice to birth a new brood strong enough to consume galaxies. And Hulk's children? They were to be the vessels. No, Hulk's voice cracked raw. His body shook with rage, so pure it split the chamber walls. No one touches. My family. He roared and charged, fists smashing through serpents like meteors. Every strike was an earthquake, every blow splattering venom across the cathedral. Superman blurred beside him, fists like lightning, eyes twin suns burning serpents to ash. The chamber collapsed into chaos, flesh, venom, and fire everywhere. Hulk tore open the first cage, his children's screams silenced as they clung to him. Superman shielded them with his cape, deflecting venom bolts and crushing serpents under his heel. But even as they fought, the prophecy pulsed in the walls. The broodmother had planned this, and outside, the nest itself began to shift, awakening. As the last high serpent fell, its dying hiss slithered into Superman's mind. You will break. You are always meant to break. And when you do, the nest will be reborn. The ground trembled. The walls peeled back. And there, rising from the heart of the nest, was the broodmother herself, vaster than before, her coils glowing, her eyes burning with galaxies, her hiss shaking reality apart. This time, she wasn't just hungry. She was ready to consume gods. The nest of eternity convulsed like a dying star, flesh tearing, venom rivers bursting, bone spires cracking. And from its heart, she rose. The broodmother uncoiled herself, so vast her body eclipsed the chamber. Her scales shimmered with constellations, galaxies rippling across her skin like tattoos of creation. Her eyes were suns bleeding venom light. Her hiss warped space, shattering stone, bending light itself. This was not just a creature. This was a god of hunger. Superman planted himself between the broodmother and Hulk's children. His cape was shredded, his chest heaving, but his eyes burned brighter than ever. Hulk, he said, voice like steel in a storm. We hold the line. Hulk cradled his children, then gently set them behind a shattered cage. His hands trembled. His rage boiled. His eyes glowed. Lie. Hulk growled, standing tall. No, Superman. We smash it. The broodmother struck first. Her coils lashed out, each strike strong enough to split moons. Superman blurred forward, catching one coil mid-strike. It hurled him across the chamber, slamming him through a wall of living bone. The nest roared in unison with her, a cathedral of screams. Hulk leapt, fists raised, smashing down on her scales. The chamber shook like a planet quake, venom exploding upward like geysers. But her hide was cosmic steel, his fists dented but did not shatter it. She hissed, venom raining like meteors. Each drop corroded the ground, burning holes into reality itself. Clark, Hulk shouted, as the serpents poured from the walls again. Thousands, millions, a tidal wave of scales. Superman burst from the rubble, heat vision blasting arcs of fire that cut through the swarm. His voice thundered over the chaos. She's drawing power from the nest. It's alive because of her. We tear it apart. She falls. Hulk grinned, teeth bared, fists dripping venom. Finally, something to break. They tore into the horde together. Superman moved like lightning, each punch cracking sonic booms, each strike burning serpents into dust. He grabbed coils, ripped them apart, and hurled them into the swarm. Heat vision carved through armies like divine fire. Hulk was chaos incarnate. Every punch shattered bone spires. Every roar sent shockwaves through the chamber. He crushed serpents in his fists, ripped their jaws apart, smashed their bodies until the nest itself bled. Together, they carved a path through the impossible. But the broodmother only grew stronger. Her scales glowed, drinking in venom rivers. Her hiss split into thousands of voices, echoing across dimensions. And she spoke inside their minds. You think you fight me? You fight prophecy. You were born to end here. Kryptonian sunfire. Gamma rage. I consume you both, and my children consume all creation. Superman staggered as the visions hit him. Worlds burning, Earth swallowed by endless coils, Lois's face dissolving into venom. Hulk roared, smashing his fists against his head, trying to drown the whispers. Shut up! And then, the twist. As the broodmother hissed, the chamber's walls shifted again, showing carvings no one had seen before. Not just prophecy, not just sacrifice. A third figure etched into the bones. Not Kryptonian, not Hulk, something else. A child-shaped shadow with burning eyes. Superman's stomach dropped. No! Hulk's heart froze. The image was clear. It wasn't just him. It wasn't just Clark. It was his children. The prophecy wasn't about killing Superman and Hulk. It was about taking their power and passing it into the children. The broodmother hissed, triumphant. The next brood are ready. The nest will have its gods. Like hell. Hulk's roar shook the chamber apart. His rage erupted so violently the ground split beneath him, gamma energy exploding outward. Superman caught his shoulder, eyes blazing, his voice sharp. Hulk, listen to me. If we lose control, if we give her what she wants, we lose everything. Hulk's fists trembled, rage barely contained. His children's cries echoed. Superman's hand didn't waver. We end this. Together. They turned to face the broodmother, who was now fully awake, her coils tearing through dimensions, her shadow blotting out the stars. The nest collapsed around them, venom oceans rising, serpent gods chanting. It was the end of everything, and the beginning of their last stand. The nest of eternity was dying, collapsing in on itself like a black hole of bone and venom. But at its center, the broodmother towered, her coils shredding galaxies stitched into her skin, her venom-dripping fangs ready to swallow worlds. Superman and Hulk stood side by side, bruised, torn, their bodies broken, but unyielding. The broodmother's voice thundered across the chamber. Your children will ascend as my brood. Your blood will water eternity. Yield. Superman wiped blood from his lip, his eyes igniting like twin suns. We don't yield. Hulk's fists clenched, his whole body shaking with rage. We smash. The war began. Superman shot forward, faster than thought, his fists crashing into the broodmother's head with the force of collapsing stars. Heat vision erupted, searing into her eyes, blinding her with fire brighter than creation. Hulk roared, leaping high, smashing in her coils with enough power to split mountains. He grabbed her scales and ripped, tearing chunks of her godflesh free. Her scream shook universes. The nest convulsed, serpents exploding from the walls in endless waves. But Superman and Hulk fought like storms given form. Superman became pure speed, pure light, weaving between coils, striking with impossible precision. His every punch cracked cosmic bone. Hulk became pure rage, each blow a nuclear warhead, each roar tearing serpents apart with sound alone. Together, they were unstoppable. Yet still, the broodmother endured. Her coils wrapped around Superman, crushing him until his bones snapped. His scream echoed through the venom storm. Hulk! Hulk turned, eyes glowing, and saw Superman breaking under her grip. Something inside him shattered. His rage exploded beyond anything he had ever felt. Gamma light engulfed him, shaking the nest to its core. He leapt, grabbed her coils, and with a roar that split eternity itself, ripped them apart. Superman collapsed free, coughing blood but alive. He looked up at Hulk, tears burning in his eyes. Thank you. But the broodmother wasn't finished. She unhinged her jaw, wider than a galaxy, venom light spilling into a void. Her hiss wasn't sound. It was gravity itself, pulling Superman and Hulk, pulling their children, pulling entire realities toward her maw. It was the end of all things. Superman staggered forward, every breath agony. His cape hung in tatters. His fists trembled, yet his voice was steady. Hulk! Hulk's chest heaved, his fists dripping with blood and venom. Superman's eyes burned with a final light. We can't just fight her. We have to end her. Together. Hulk nodded, his teeth bared. Together. And then they unleashed everything. Superman drew on the last of his strength, the last rays of 1,000 suns burning in his veins. His heat vision erupted, not as beams, but as a tidal wave of light, a sun born inside the nest. Hulk roared, his body exploding with gamma energy, his fists glowing like dying stars. He leapt into the blaze, punching with every ounce of fury he had ever known, every wound, every scream, every loss. Light and rage fused. Sunfire and Gamma Storm. Superman and Hulk, one final strike. They slammed into the broodmother's heart. The nest screamed. The serpents burned. The broodmother convulsed, her god body shattering under impossible force. Her eyes burst. Her coils split. Her scream echoed across eternity, then was silenced forever. The nest of eternity imploded, vanishing into ash and silence. Superman and Hulk fell to their knees amidst the ruins, smoke rising, venom rivers dried. Hulk's children rushed to him, their small hands clutching his massive ones. Superman smiled weakly, his chest barely rising. "It's over," he whispered. Hulk nodded, pulling his children close. His voice rumbled softly. "We won." Superman looked up at the fading stars, his eyes dimming. Not just us. Humanity. Earth. The galaxy. Free again. And then he collapsed into Hulk's arms. Hulk held him, his massive hand cradling the last son of Krypton. Tears cut through the dirt and venom on his face. "You didn't just fight like a god, Clark," Hulk whispered. "You fought like a friend." He raised his children high, looking into the stars where no serpent hiss remained. "The galaxy's ours now," Hulk said, "and no one takes it again. Milky Way the end."